look at, kind of the first thing is teaching them the value of money. Because like you said, a lot of parents, especially newer parents, if they wait a little while, they're a little better off. They want to spoil their kids. And what happens when you do that is you take that lesson of money away from kids, right? Because they think money just grows on trees because mom and dad are just giving me what I want when I want it. I see it, when kids throw these huge tantrums in stores about wanting a toy, and mom and dad will just buy them the toy to shut them up, and that's the worst thing you can do, right? A lot of parents don't do allowances anymore. It's just, give the kids what I want. I mean, I saw a kid yesterday, I kid you not, he had to have been 16, 17 years old, driving through the neighborhood in his dad's Porsche convertible, top down. And you could tell he was trying to be cool and nervous. But I'm like, okay, that's great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that. But, if that's what you're teaching your kids about money, that it just happens and stuff like that, they're never going to learn on their own. And what's going to end up happening to you is they're never going to come off of your I don't want to say, well, they'll continue to expect money from you. Let's just put it that way. Right. It's a cycle. And, again, that's why you see a lot of Gen Z still living with mom and dad. They'll go to college and they'll move back in, and, they call them the boomerang kids or whatever, because they don't know, the lessons of money. And so they just, I always got it from mom and dad. Why would I want to go out and do that? I want to stay at home. So that value of money is critical at a very young age. And you can teach them, I wouldn't say 2 or 3, but as you get a little older, or they get a little older, start talking about allowances, right? I think everybody should pitch in around the house. I don't know how you did it, but everybody pitches in around the house when the kids were young, just as their part of doing their part for the family, right? But then they had bonus jobs that I would always post up on a board every week. Hey, here are some jobs you want to earn. This is what this would be. Just let me know, right? Sorry, gnat flying around. But, I think that value of money, and that's kind of the cornerstone. If they don't understand the value of money, they're going to go and just expect it from you, or they're going to go into credit card debt because they want the item and just, and so they're going to buy it because they don't realize the penalty of it or things like that. So I don't know, what your thoughts are on that value of money, but me personally, I think that's the cornerstone.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think definitely like helping them understand. I know, Sloan asked me, why do you work all the time? Why are you always on Zoom calls? And I was explaining to her, she's only 6, but explaining to her how when you have, when you pay for your place to live, when you pay for the water that you take a shower with or take a bath with, when you, turn on the lights, like all of those things cost money, and you have to work to earn that money. Right. And then, you had mentioned something earlier that I think was really good too. Like if, say they earn a little bit of extra money on a side job, how much time did that take? And then how quickly can you spend that money? Right. And is it really worth it? Yeah. So, I say for adults, I teach adults this, in my coaching is like, if, what are you worth per hour in your job? And when you think about spending, right, is what you're spending worth your time that you've put in to earn that money. So
yeah, and that goes into the value of money. And it also teaches, that kind of goes into the next topic, which is more along the lines of, teaching kids how to budget. And I want to be honest with you, most adults don't budget, right? They'll keep track of what they spend, but that's not a budget. A budget is being intentional about your money and kind of deciding what areas you want to have. I want to go 10% towards my tithe or charity. I want to have 20% or 10% to 20% towards my future wealth, things like that. And then I'm budgeting to live on the rest. And teaching your kids that early, teaching them, about that saving, right? Paying yourself first, needs versus wants, kind of the things that you were talking about. I mean, especially with kids, that's kind of a hard lesson. Oh, I want it. Do you want it or do you need it? Well, if you don't need it, then do we really need it? And that's where you go into the conversation you just said. If you're working at $15 an hour, right, at some fast food joint or whatever the case may be, and you're making $15, you're going to net maybe 11, 12 of that. Do you want to spend an hour of your time on that, whatever, for $12?
One McDonald's meal.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, right? No doubt. That's crazy. But, going out to eat with their friends or stuff like that, is that worth an hour of your time? Because that's really what they're doing, right? And so as you start talking with kids about that, I mean, it's crazy. it's just it's crazy, the epiphany. And we talk to our our adult clients, right, in regards to is what you're buying bringing you closer to your financial goals or pulling you further away. And this is a lighter version of that, right, with kids. I mean, 5-6 year olds not gonna maybe get all that. So hey Johnny, you just helped out in the yard and I gave you $10 for helping me rake the leaves. That took you an hour and a half, right? Because kids typically, when they get money, what do? They want to go and spend it.
Yeah.